It's spooky. Very spooky.
One of the oldest parabolic dunes in Juodkrante. Now I've got to go and look up the word parabolic, haven't I? It is said that witches and demons used to host parties there since time immemorial. Jonas Stanius, a local forester, suggested placing these characters from legends on the hill. Between 1979 and 1981, during the course of folk art workshops, 50 woodcarvers created 71 sculptures. The exposition consists of more than 80 oak sculptures, and it is replenished and renewed on a regular basis. A serpent. Something about a legend. You lucky Lithuanian readers, you'll be able to glean all the information, while the rest of us kind of look like this guy's looking when we see Lithuanian written down. Sort of, oh, I don't understand it. Haha, who do we have here? People calling out, while others are carrying a bench. Definitely a place to come with kids if you've got them. Don't leave them at home, shut up in a cupboard under the stairs. You can actually take them on this trip. They always complain otherwise, don't they? You didn't leave them enough water in the bowl. They ran out of dry bread. They were hungry for the last 2 days. Kids, they're never satisfied. Of course, if there's a strong signal for the Wi-Fi under that stairs, they'll be happy to stay in the cupboard. Oh, they need a charging point for their device as well. Yeah, they'll just forget to eat all together. Could be an inexpensive break for mum and dad. Just a thought. A little more of the weird and the wonderful. Who are you then? What are you doing up there looking down at me like that? Bit of a drop. Fortunately, the path stays away from that. But just warn the kids, if they're running off the leash, stay on the path. You can also warn them that the ghosts, witches, demons, ghouls are looking out for them, hiding behind the trees. And if they either misbehave or go running off the path, they could become lost forever. Of course, if you've got a child who wishes to become lost forever, Is that a lady or is it Jesus? It's clean shaven, so I think it's a lady. Neringos Juvenas. So is this Neringa herself, supported by mermaids, merwomen, ladies of the sea, part fish, part human. And there's a devilish looking monster thing looking down on Naringa, coveting her probably, the way that demons always do. What do we have here? A famous name, perhaps? Egle Jalciu Karalien. And it says up there, this one is from 1980. The lights through the trees, playing all kinds of tricks with the camera. Oh, there's a bench in need of being replenished. No, replaced. Naringa Legenda. Need to brush up on my legends. I suspect maybe you do too. Might be just as well before you come and visit the Hill of Witches. So some of these characters, like Naglis, will sound familiar, and you will be able to recall, oh yeah, he was in the Legend of Naringa, wasn't he? Wasn't he the chap who did something? Who do we have here? The king, no less. A bowl in one hand and a fish in the other. And the sculptures keep coming thick and fast. Two birds, maybe toucans. Two toucans. What do you think? Here's a totem and a half. Not just a token totem, but one which goes all the way up. And who do you meet on the way down? That's right. It's Nick the Australian. Oh no, it's not Nick the Australian. It does look a bit like Nick the Australian, but it's not. Always good to see an arrow pointing me in the right direction. Thank you very much. Calnu Promenada, Promenade of Hills. The Promenade of Hills was formed at the end of the 19th century when Juodkrante became a resort. It is twisting and turning, goes through dune tops and slopes, covered with centuries-old fir trees and pines. It is a trail with an extremely complex composition that even required removing part of the dunes. Later, a part of the old promenade was turned into the exposition of the Hill of Witches. The part of the trail that leads towards the church was once called the parish path. 200 years ago, it was used daily by a priest walking to Juodkrante and back. And every time, in order to reach his parishioners, the priest had to cross the steep parabolic dunes. There's the guy who looks like Nick the Australian, a bit. And here are two old guys who look a bit like, well, nobody at all, really. They are who they are. I feel serene, peaceful. It's lovely, and although it's a Saturday, as you can see, you may have seen, there's a few folk about, but it feels like you kind of got the place to yourself. They're all whooping it up down in Needham right now. They can keep their jazz festivals. We don't need them. We've got the Hill of Witches and the Valley of Firs. Ooh, ooh, somebody's warning me. This facing The hand gesture is saying, go back, go back. But the arrow pointed up this way. It told me I should come. Surely I'll come to no harm. Gah. Ah. The man holding the fish can't believe I'm so naive. Ooh. Gosh, this sunlight. Challenging. Nice to film it for a change, because in previous visits I've taken lots of pictures. This is all a little bit different and still a bit new to me, if I'm honest. Incidentally, did you happen to notice? No entry fee. That's right. Completely free. Kind of a surprise. I really like this place. If I'd been asked to pay a fee, I would have paid a couple of euros to come back and see it again. If I'd wanted to see it for the first time, I'd pay €5. I don't like to pay too much, you know. Man of limited means. But I think this is a super situation where you can have an inexpensive day trip. Visit this location, get a real feeling of being in nature. Can you hear all those birds? Can you smell all the pine? Maybe you can, maybe you can't. Oh, lovely. And you've even got the beach, the golden sandy beach, which we may or may not have time to visit. And you've got all these characters to encounter on your path through the parabolic dunes, up and over, twisty and turny. You never know who you're going to meet next. This isn't so much of a monster, or is it? Is it just pretending to be not so much of a monster? But really, it is. I was just looking at the other end. And this is the end of the teeth, the sharp end, where you've got to be very careful. And here is somewhere I've sat before, I believe. And it's cool that you can sit in these chairs, on these seats, on the benches. It's nice for a change, isn't it? This is art, but it's not considered so precious that you can't touch it. You can't enjoy the texture. You can't enjoy making the silly selfie. Woe betide anyone who makes a silly selfie in my chair. I hope he's not going to curse me, like so many others have. Oh dear. There's always one, isn't there? Gets accused of being a witch, ends up being tied to a stake, and burnt. There are the flames engulfing her. Feel sorry for the witch, don't you? This one, created in wood in 1988. Irresistible, that's what you are. Irresistible. From near and far. It's incredible just how irresistible you truly are. And there's more. Some people, in fact, almost everybody just walks through here at speed. So I guess I am very much in the minority when it comes to really enjoying and wishing to savour these figures. Lovely. And well, purely by coincidence, I assure you, I believe we've met before, young lady. Wouldn't your name be Migla? I think it is, isn't it? Don't be shy. Share your name with me. Miss Migla. No, she's having none of it. Met you guys before. Get a cheap flight with Ryanair, or Wizz Air, or EasyJet, or Air Baltic. Yeah, you're all the same. Meet a young Miss Migla, carved in wood in the parabolic sand dunes. Think you can have your wicked way. Well, Miss Migla's having none of it. There, she told you. She's got a bit of a rough voice as well, hasn't she, Miss Migla? I bet you're misunderstood, aren't you? Life hasn't been easy, has it? Your voice is even rougher than Miss Migla's. Well, walking around with a bird on your head. Never mind a chip on your shoulder. Fancy walking around with a bird on your head? It's a hard burden to bear. Bless her. Shafts of sunlight, white beams cast down upon us. Is a spell being formulated? Is a spell being brewed? Is there a witch turning the spoon in the cauldron? The hell of witches is just for kids, isn't it? They don't know the half of it, do they? Ooh. Enter the gate at your peril. This is the gate of hell. Not as scary when you're an adult, admittedly. Perhaps not scary for kids either these days. I don't know. Shouldn't be too scary. You don't want them frightened off Witches Hill, do you? Oh, bless her. It's a nasty bunion you've got on your foot down there. Large hands, but short arms. And the sweetest of faces. Nice looking girl. Could do a lot worse for yourself. But imagine those bunions. I saw a dog recently. I think it must have popped up in a video on Facebook, one of those recommended videos, you know, because I like dogs. And it had a deformed face. It wasn't dissimilar to this face. Poor dog, his nose was sort of crooked, wonky. Bless. They all deserve loving, don't they? It's me. I'm a demon. Sit down. Relax. Take the weight off. I'll take all your worries away. You'll never think about any of those terrible things ever again. Not if you just sit here and let me give you a head massage. Well, he sounds innocent and friendly enough, doesn't he? Looks can be deceptive, though. As Hansel and Gretel found out to their cost. Maybe they're not Hansel and Gretel. And yeah, I think we've got a few newer additions since the last time I came here. Take care when you play games with the devil. Who's that looking over his shoulder? He's a nasty piece of works, and there ain't no mistaking it. Wouldn't trust him, would you? On the other hand, is a lovely looking lady. She's got a sweet smile, don't you think? Unless that sweet smile is what draws people in. It's a trap. The sweet smile is the honey trap. So there are people having fun and games in the forest. Why not? The invitation's open. Too many pieces here to really miss out on if you are keen, as I am, on seeing everything and not rushing it either. Just taking your time. And I can hear people's voices now. Oh, how long to do the Witch's Hill? How long to do it? How long? Well, please don't ask me that question. Walk around at your pace and take as long as you like to do Witch's Hill. Visit. Walk around as slow as you possibly can, particularly when you're in the company of the sculptures, so that you can soak them in. Let them seep in so they'll become memories. Pictures and film are nice, but they can just jog the memory in case, you know, the old noggins lets you down from time to time. You might not remember some of these musicians, perhaps, but you can just get a reminder, and then that will jog your memory once you've looked at the picture or the YouTube video. And the memory brings it all back into focus. Oh, now I remember the guy with the saxophone. That's right, and there was a fiddler. Of course there was, with that hair parted in the middle. My favourite was the accordion player, with his hat and his bushy moustache, yes. Guy with the high forehead, yeah, didn't really care for him. Looked a bit like Tom York, didn't it? Maybe Moby. Moby in the 80s. And the charming couple. Who could ever forget them? We don't need a jazz festival, do we, boys? We're kicking up a storm right here on the Hill of Witches in Juodkrante. Hurrah! And I think we're celebrating a wedding too, or an engagement. I'm glad I got an invitation. That's a mighty big tongue you've got there, fella. And who's your buddy up on your horns, eh? A baby demon and a daddy demon. I think I'll keep my distance from those two. Ooh, This is definitely something that appeals, doesn't it? A demon and his hag witch wife. Or lady love. Perhaps they haven't formally tied the knot. He's still wooing her. Far be it from me to come between a demon and his hag witch wife. But she's a bit of a looker, isn't she? Back in the day, I remember seeing people climbing up there and getting photographed at the top of that horse. Here. And is it just me? Or does this make one think of Belgium? Little boy taking a piece. So that's it. Pretty much. I hope you enjoyed the little walk round Witch's Hill. Hope you enjoyed meeting some of the characters on the show. And definitely one to put on your bucket list of things when you come to the Coronian Spit. And certainly if you're in Klaipeda, you've got to come over and say hello and see what fresh replenishments have taken place. Could be new characters when you arrive. It's probably an evolving attraction. An evolving attraction. Yes, I like the sound of that. Here we are at the wedding party, the Hill of Witches. I'd like to thank you for joining me. I hope you were entertained, enjoyed seeing all the wood sculpture. If you liked the video, why not press the like button? You won't get an electric shock, I promise. And if you want to hit the subscribe button, that would be even better. If you have any comments, feel free, right away, and hopefully, so long as they're pleasant and positive, I might respond. In fact, I'll do my absolute best to respond in due course. Bye for now. See you in the next one.